helpful and supportive. And my intuition said that the helpful thing to have done would have been to left the water bottle out. Even if she hadn't wanted it, and I would have gotten out and packed it, I still would have felt okay, because I at least erred on the side of being helpful and supportive. I realized that's the difference for me. It was a choice based on the inappropriate values for the moment. So that got me thinking in terms of, life in general and what it means to feel fulfilled, to feel empowered, to feel like you've really lived. And what I realized is to feel that you have fully lived is to know you have fully lived your values. Because our values, those values that are most important and compelling to us, those are our life. That is, if you will, the Christ in us expressing, is what moves and motivates us. Our lives are expressions of divine life, infinite intelligence. We are inseparable with our source. Our source is constantly communicating through us, in and through us, as us, and especially through what we value, for what's important to us. It's our life saying, this is the direction we want to go in. And when we begin to pay attention to those values, then we're that much more empowered and confident in the choices we make, and our life is fuller. And so now I realize that for me, many times, the second guessing is actually just that wrestling with, do I do what I habitually do, or do I choose for my most important values? And that's usually the struggle, the wrestling. Joshua, in the book of Joshua, has this statement, one of those phrases that I also love. And he said at one point, he said, choose this day whom you will serve. Choose this day whom you will serve. And to me, that's to me it says that same basic idea of, what will I serve this day? What values will I serve this day? Not that they're not all valuable and they're all important, but there are those values in those moments, in those situations that are more compelling and important than other values. Like, for instance, you want a bridge builder to be accurate, technically correct. And yet in our relationships to each other, many times, we want to be helpful, supportive, compassionate, understanding. And so recognizing these values all have their place. I believe then that what helps in those moments where you're faced with a choice, it's helpful to have already an idea of what those values are that are important to you. And that's what I consider to be a purpose statement. I believe having a sense of purpose, sometimes we talk about purpose and then I get caught up in thinking of purpose means what job I do, what career, what work I engage in. But more and more I realize that purpose has such much more broader and for me actually a much more satisfying meaning to it when I think of it as, what are the values that guide me moment by moment? That's my purpose. What are the values that I serve? And so to have that sense of what values am I here to serve, makes it easier in those moments when I'm confronted with the choice to say, okay, so what is my purpose? What are those values I'm here to serve, to help guide me in the choices I make? It makes it a lot easier for me to follow my inner nudges. And even when I fail, as I did in that particular instance in packing the car, it was no big deal, ultimately, but it was so helpful to look at why it was upsetting me. And so for me, it's that attitude of curiosity as to what's really going on here. And to take that attitude of curiosity into more and more of the experiences of life. And so now, with Indiana Jones, And he now has to choose, and he's under tremendous pressure. Fortunately, if we have a sense of purpose, it's a lot easier in those moments, especially in significant moments. For in this moment, he has to choose well in order to save his father's life. He has to choose well. And so that's and that's the other part of the story that's so fascinating. He goes up, and rather than going for the ones that with the appearance of greater significance and more elaborate and ornate, he looks for a cup that reflects the qualities that he saw in Jesus of humility, of a carpenter. What would that cup look like? And he chose, and as the knight said, he chose well. He chose well. You know, in life, our ultimate desire is to choose well, so that we can fully express our own unique Christ expression. And ultimately then, see our dreams come true in their own divine, natural, totally divine way. And so I give thanks that life is constantly giving me those wonderful little nudges. And basically, I'm excited for all of you and for the journey that you're on right now. And I need to acknowledge the journey you're on, because you are going to be making a big choice too for your ministry, and that is choosing a new minister. And I just want to right now take this opportunity to affirm and acknowledge that that choice for you is in divine order. And as last time, I was so moved and impressed by your mission, and it is a tremendous, powerful purpose statement. Your purpose is to recognize, call forth, and celebrate the divine in everyone. And I see you drawing to you the minister who will join you in this purpose and hold this as his mission, her mission, to recognize, call forth, and celebrate the divine in everyone. It is in divine order. And I give thanks that it is so. And I give thanks for the opportunity of being here with you today.